sou Tina Medeiros e hoje nós, do Pipoca Gigante, temos uma surpresa para vocês. Em 1990, estrelava nas telas do mundo todo o Vingador do Futuro, uma adaptação do conto de Philip K. Dick, autor de ficção científica americano. O longa era estrelado pelo bombadíssimo Arnold Schwarzenegger e virou um cult e um clássico. Cabe agora ao ator irlandês Colin Farrell viver o personagem Douglas Quaid no remake de Len Wiseman, diretor de Anjos da Noite. Colin veio ao Rio divulgar o filme e, claro, o Pipoca Gigante não ia deixar vocês fora desse bate-papo. Vem com a gente conferir essa conversa que eu garanto, foi um luxo só. Beijo!
You have another nightmare?
Yeah. So I read the script, and as much as it was high concept and as much as it was a remake and I was skeptical about it being a remake, I really liked it, and I thought I could for 5 months my interest could remain front and center. And I met Len Wiseman, the director, and he showed me all the drawings that he did of the world that the story was going to inhabit, and they were beautiful. The drawings were beautiful, and the world that he was going to create was kind of stunning. So there was a 5 or 6 year old inside me that was kind of going, wow, fuck, oh, whoa, I can be in that. Regardless of how big the canvas is, I think at the center of the story, you have to attempt to have as much integrity and as much knowledge about your character and as much passion about your character's journey for big films as you do for small. Maybe even more so for big films, I don't know, because I think it's easier to get swallowed up by the world that your character exists within in a film like Total Recall.
Looking for something. Is it this?
Not just for ego's sake, but you kind of do want to make it your own, and you want to, have I don't think, regardless of how beautiful a film may be or magnificent it may look or how much action there may be in it, if there's not characters at the center of the film that you care about, as you probably know yourself, well then it doesn't really matter, You
want to be a crime fighter, or a world-class athlete, or a secret agent. Yeah. Happy trails, man.
Bottom line is, I experienced Total Recall as a kid, kind of as a teenager, young man, and then I read it, 15, 20 years later as an actor, as some form of a grown man, and liked it and thought it was good enough to go with it, But Total Recall, I loved when I saw it, and I was probably 16 or 17, and I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times since. I remember it quite clearly. And as I said, that led to me being quite skeptical about making it. And I know people are going to draw comparisons. It's the same story, it's the same name. There's a lot of the same dialogue in it. There is quite a shift in plot, kind of narrative, and removing Mars and having it all take place on Earth. And some characters are condensed to characters.
Why are you trying to kill me?
Your memory was erased. Your mind was implanted with a life you think you've lived. Oh, and by the way, you haven't even begun to see me trying to kill you.
This story is all about fantasies and dreams coming true. If you could go to recall yourself, what would your fantasy be like? What would you dream of?
Good questions. I think what would I dream of? I kind of always wanted to represent my country playing football, soccer. So that'd probably be the most obvious one. Well, my dad played professionally until he was 25 or 6 in Ireland. That's how he made his living. And that's what I thought I wanted to do until I was about 14. And then I started drinking beer and chasing girls, and that was the end of that. So the only time I get to really support a team is when Ireland play. It doesn't always work out, but so that would be my recall.
Get in. I'm looking for you everywhere.
What is it about Philip K. Dick's short story that makes it as fresh today as it was when it was published in the 60s?
Philip K. Dick's stories, I think, are relevant because he commented on things that were of great social import, but things that when he was commenting on them, existed way beneath the surface, things that we now know to be more apparent, the idea of patriarchal governments, the idea of, you know, whether it's religion or big tobacco, it's, you know, a small group of people wielding great power. So he, you know, he had a keen interest in the idea of the big brother complex, of none of us being as free in our everyday lives as we think we are. You know, the feeling that we have, you know, freedom of choice and opinion when we don't really, when we're subconsciously even directed towards our own opinions, or what seem to be our own opinions.
If I'm not me, then who the hell am I?
And in this as well, I mean, this film doesn't really work for me unless you care about the character of Quaid, unless you kind of, you go on the journey with a man who has lost everything in his life and is trying to find out fundamentally who he is.
You don't have the most reliable of memories, do you?